Good morning and welcome back to another pipeline trading video. Today I want to cover the markets overall. I'm going to go into oil, gold, Bitcoin, ETH. I'm going to discuss HIVE because that's a big one that we've been talking about on this channel. Tesla, the 10 years. And I have a surprise at the end. Something I caught that I think a lot of people are missing. And I think it could be a really big surprise, I should say. And typically it's sell in May, come back in September type of scenario going on in the market. And I've learned this through experience that right now the market's been really hot, and rightfully so. We have semiconductors, chips, the AI play. It's not slowing down anytime soon. And I hear a lot of narratives out there that this is the dot-com bubble and everything like that. And I'm not saying that we can't see a massive market correction. I don't think we're going to go into a bear market yet until something else breaks. Because right now, it's almost like, best thing I could give you an example of is if you think of when Greenspan was in, he lowered rates and he left the economy to do its thing. And he believed that the economy was going to grow the GDP and that was going to fix everything. And then we had the housing crash. I think they're doing the same type of, I guess you could say, thesis, that they believe AI is going to be able to produce enough to increase the GDP astronomically to handle the and service the debt that the country is holding. So why this is here right now is I think maybe you see a 1 to 2% pullback in the market. Watch the moving averages, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, watch this. See if these cross over, because you might get a pullback like this, which was what, 6-7%, I think. Oh, this is the wrong one. Yeah, no, that's it. Maybe you get a pullback like this. Nothing too crazy, nothing too deep. And one thing that you should watch for is see how this forms. If we start to go down and build a channel like this, okay, then that is going to be bullish. And then we'll have another cross and we'll make another leg to a new high. So this is what I've been watching. And if you remember, I'm going to draw it in again right now. I had targets that I believe. Was I early to it? Yeah, I'm not going to chase the runners, but the targets are still there for the fib levels. So as you can see, let me go to the one. This is a, you might get a pullback, and I was on the wrong time frame, so I apologize for that. So maybe we get another 5-6%, 7% pullback. Let's see if it forms like this to the downside. As long as we don't break this low, then we're still in an uptrend and we could still get a massive leg to the upside, because this is an 18-year cycle. So this is where things become irrational and the blow off top. And I'm going to go into why I believe this. I should have seen this a little sooner with this cross. I believe that we were going to curl back over and we were going to get a bigger pullback considering the run, which I was wrong. And the whole market has ripped up. And again, this is why you can't listen to the narratives, because right now the strait's still closed. There's still things going on in the Middle East. Oil and the demand and supply issue still exists. And the market did this, which this pullback was caused by that. So this is where you have to realize that the market's front running whatever the thesis is. So even if things get better in the East, the Middle East, it's kind of already priced all of that in. So it's almost like a sell the news event, but you're seeing the layoffs continue. And this is where it's going to be interesting to see what the Feds do, because yeah, AI might be able to help the GDP in a big way, but then you have to balance unemployment, and people are going to have to cycle into new positions and relearn things and do other things in order to keep up with the changes. So we're going to see how that plays out. But if the Fed lowers rates and just gets out of the way, he's pulling the playbook out of Alan Greenspan, which we could continue to go to the upside in a very big way. And the difference between now and the dot-com bubble, which I acknowledge, is that a lot of the big companies, the AI companies, the chipsets, all these things that are going on right now, these companies are flush with a boatload of cash, not much debt, which is very different than um, the dot-com bubble. At the same time, if you look at Anthropic and all these other, Claude and AI companies, their growth is like 80 times. They were expecting like, 5, 6, 7, 8 time growth, and they're getting 1,000 times more than they even anticipated. So that could continue to drive the markets up. When we go to the semiconductors, this thing doesn't look like it's going to be stopping anytime soon. And I'm still in the camp that when something does break, because it always does, there will be a narrative, there will be something that happens. This thing is going to fall pretty bad. Like we could see a pullback, and I don't know when. Like you could see a 30% pullback in the semiconductor ETF. And that doesn't even, here's the crazy part, it doesn't even mean that we're in a crash or a bull. Like this could pull back all the way to here and then go make a new high. This is the market that we're in, so it's really hard to navigate. The only thing I would say, um, and again, this isn't financial advice, this is my opinion. This is what I do for myself. Ride the trends, have a hedge. Sell covered calls if you're in these positions, and start taking some sort of profit, because you don't know when this music's going to end. And as long as you have some sort of profit sitting, you have some cash aside, then you'll be able to take advantage of these massive pullbacks and then wait, see when it continues to change direction, and continuation, add to the positions. Now, if we go to oil's still in the wedge, and we don't know yet. It's still too early. Remember, there's a head and shoulder in the wedge. So the question is, what does it do? Right now, to me, first glance looking, is if we break this level right here, 85, 86, we could come all the way down to $70 barrel. Minimum is going to be roughly about 78 on the minimum, and then we could continue to go all the way down. And this has happened before, guys. When you look at what happened in the 70s with the war in Iran and everything there, same type of thing can play out. We could see things come down, and if that happens, then guess what? The market will rip. If oil takes off and something bad were to happen, you're gonna see oil go back above 105 to 122. So keep an eye on these trend lines, see what breaks first, get confirmation, and then we go. If we go to gold, gold is still going down. It's holding, and this right here is descending. So there is a good chance that gold is going to have another leg up. We just don't know. Is it going to continue? Because look, it held the 44, the fib line. Maybe we go down to 42, 41.93 area and hold. We don't know yet. But this right now is consolidating, which to me, as long as we're holding the 50, if we get above the 50, if we get above the 20 day, which is the blue line, and things curl over, Next stop should go to about 5,000, 5,200. Now, here's where things get interesting. I've been saying this for quite some time. If you've been watching the channel, then you know how long I've been saying this for. And this is why, if you want good content, you want to know where the markets are going, you want to see. I'm not sitting here saying to day trade. I wouldn't tell anybody to do that. But as an investor or somebody in the market, that's where I believe my channel is superior to other channels, because I'm not going on the day to day. You would never want to trade. I mean, and people that are trading this are using a crazy amount of leverage. And typically, yeah, some make money, but most do not. I think I'll go into what I think after. But right now, Bitcoin broke the bear flag. In the next few days, we could actually see 60,000, 56, 48. These are the zones. So anybody looking, people always say, Matt, when should we be buying this stuff? And the answer is wait till it confirms that it's dying down and slowly accumulate. Leave a little bit so that you can add in if it keeps going lower. But this is something you don't do on the short time frame. This is something that you do where you're going to hold. And this is why I've been saying learn how to sell covered calls. If you were to buy iBet and start building a big position down here, you could start selling calls and collecting, like cover calls and collecting premiums. And in the end, that's going to lower your overall costs. It's going to be generating some income in the meantime while building a position down here. Because when this goes and it reverses, this is at least a 2 to 3x down the road, which is huge. Plus whatever you're generating on the call side if you're selling covered calls. So watch this. Let's see this level right here. If we break right now, what you're going to see first is a secondary test. So if we go to here or here, this is all a secondary test zone from this one candle right here. We might not even go below it. We might stop out at 60, 59. And why I'm saying this is we want to watch and see how it builds. If this, again, if you remember what I was saying, let me pull this part up. If we go here and we start chopping like this now and going down, that means we're going to get a leg up later. I don't know when that is, but this is bullish after. We are no longer looking for a massive leg to the downside. If we come down here and we start consolidating like this, let me just move this up. And we start consolidating something like this, that means that there's a chance that we're getting even another leg down. So time will tell. There's another thing I'm going to save for the end, but it's the same thing with ETH. Like, as you can see, I'm looking for first level support on this diagonal line. We're going to see if we get through this order block. There's a lot of buying. So here's the positive news. And this is the surprise I have. The way ETH is going right now, we might, and I've been saying this, I think I'm probably the only person to say this as early as I did, that this could have been the bottom for ETH already. It held this Fibonacci level, which is huge, the 0.786. The other thing that I was watching for Confluence is that's a 65.26% drop in ETH. The last time we had this one in 2025, that was 66. And then this one was the one before, which was 82. Now, if you're noticing, we are not seeing uh, as big of pullbacks because the use cases, think of it, there's more people using blockchain. The World Economic Forum, Larry Fink, BlackRock, Fidelity, Vanguard, the biggest money in the world right now is working on putting all securities and everything that we know of in the money world on blockchain. So think of what that's doing. This right now is one of the biggest blockchain networks that the layer 2 and other use cases, or I should say utilities, are building on is ETH. And things are going to get more efficient, and you're seeing things like BMNR and the Treasury holding and doing it. Tommy Lee's not stupid. There is his reputation's on the line. The man's been right way more than he's been wrong. And that's one of the reasons why I took a big investment in him also, is because I do think that he's seen something a lot of people have missed. We never got the massive new high. Like I went to 49 and the other one was 42, which everybody thought ETH at that point was going to go to 10,000. I think all of this stuff happens when you least expect it. That's my 2 cents. So I want to see, does it, like, if we go over here and you look at this diagonal line that I drew and that connects to the bottom in 2022, I think we're on the cusp of the bottom. So write that down, that I called that on pipeline trading, that we are closer to the bottom than people think. You will not see the bottom. That's how this works. Everybody says, I'm going to wait the next time for the bottom and this and that. And then the bottom hits you in the face and you did nothing. So you're going to see this zone here. This is the bottom, in my opinion. And we have to wait for confirmation. I'm making a prediction. I usually don't like to do that because most times when you do something like that and you think you know the market, you get humbled. But based off of everything that I'm seeing, and I'm going to leave the surprise at the end on why I've come up with this thesis, something that I'm seeing that I'm not hearing anybody really talk about. BMNR. I've been short. Let me go to a daily. I'm still holding my short. I am going to look to cover, and I'm playing every side possible. I'm selling cash secured puts. I'm short. I'm long. Just because I have a really big position in them, and I think that overall this is going to work out to be very well. Can we, out of this area right here, come all the way down here? Yeah, maybe. I just don't see it. We're not greedy at all. You're looking down here on the indicators. There's not much greed. This right here is the third time it hit. Now remember, the more it hits, the weaker it gets. So I'm keeping an eye on this level. If we break the 1802, and let's say ETH goes to 16, I think that BMNR might go down to. It all depends on this line right here. Is it from here to this bottom, or is it from here? Because that might mean that we only go to 17, 16 area. And, again, time will tell. I'm not basing it off this because here's the other thing that's very interesting. This is descending, right? We broke out of it right here. If we don't go down and break these levels over here, then there's a good chance that this is almost done. Another reason why I've changed my mind on how low I think BMNR would go from before to now is because, listen to this, they are the largest Ethereum treasury. Okay, second largest in crypto in total. 628 million average daily trading liquidity in 4 days. Okay, they have over 11.6 billion in crypto. They have investments in ACO. They have investments in Mr. Beast. They have their math program that they're doing. So right now, the market is pricing in BMNR at like a 1x multiple, which is crazy. And the reason I say that is we are seeing a company with the treasury that big of one of the biggest cryptos for the network for blockchain. And they're going to be generating around close to 3 to 500 million. So their last report, they only generated 19.4 million. They have zero debt. They have, I think, 10 or 9 to 11 billion dollars in cash sitting there. I think they're going to get priced in pretty big once their revenue comes into fruition and we start seeing the math program paying out a half a billion dollars a year in revenue. And then if ETH does take a run up, I mean, we could see a minimum 2, 3, 4x on this. So that's why I'm looking at BMNR. I'm not telling anybody to buy it. Trade your own plan, do your own thing. But this is one of the things that I'm looking at that I'm like, okay, Tommy Lee is doing something that nobody understands. Yeah, the management team is newer, but he has the experience. So I think he got into this to make a boatload of money. And the man with the idea or with the money leaves with the experience. The man with the experience leaves with the money. So whoever he's been working with that maybe came up with this idea, he knows that he is seeing something he's never seen before to make as big of a bet as he has. Maybe I'm wrong. I just don't see it at this point. It's just too big. It's too big. If we go to Hive, this one I'm going to give a shout out to a gentleman by the name of Austin. So we've been talking about this, and I actually spoke to him yesterday. And what's interesting is he's been riding this wave, made really good money. He's playing it smart. He's riding the trend. And I warned him about earnings yesterday. For whatever reason, it's always a run up, and then the earnings come out and it plummets. So right now, Hive is down 6.7% pre-market. What I said, I think, a week or so ago, or May 22nd, I was looking for support at 318 to add or go long. I'm also looking at if it did run up to 680, wait for confirmation with volume and a break of the 50 and across, because as fast as this goes up, it comes down, and it comes down aggressive. And this trend line that I've had in is something we were talking about yesterday, because it doesn't make much sense for me to bet on a big play to the upside. And it doesn't mean it can't happen. I think they're doing some incredible things, and they're changing their business model to data centers and energy, and they've been doing it for quite some time. I want to see if we're going to hold these levels as support, maybe get a pullback into a level. Remember, I was saying that when they do pull back, it pulls back roughly like 20%, 20, 25, 22. So like that brings us at 397. I would want to see how we hold up on the 20 day. If we're going to hold the 20 or 50, if these things start to cross and reverse, we could come all the way down. Now, I would be a player down here again. or I could be a player at about 270 because this is wave 1, 2, 3, pull back to 4, maybe go for a high. And the reason why I might look to go long, if this gets a big enough pullback for me to feel comfortable with confirmation, is a front run. It was front running Bitcoin. Now, if we go to, I'm going to get out of this one, but I'm going to get back to it later. Tesla looks like it's building some sort of bullish consolidation. We're getting a healthy pullback. You don't want to see it make a low, but because it didn't make a high here, there's a very good chance this is coming down a bit more. And you want to see how it's going to react. If it doesn't make a lower low here, then I would be very interested in potentially going long. But we're going to see. This not making a high and getting sold off at this order block plus this measured move is where I've been very cautious. I was actually saying on the channel short at 44.2 to 44.7, only with confirmation of a trend. What was the other thing? I wanted confirmation it wasn't going to make a high and break this. I'm going to see because it could go here and it could keep chopping. And if we chop upward, I know it's going to come down. But the reason why I always wait, it would have been a great short if you look from this area when we sold off and we got the first red candle on the daily. I knew it was going to come down. That's why I was thinking short of 40, around here, 44.2 to 44.7, because it could try and push and break through this order block. But at the same time, SpaceX and a few of these other IPOs are getting a lot of the liquidity. So we're going to see how this plays out. It could hold the 413, the 404 level. And if that happens, then I might be interested in taking a stab at this with a tight stop. But this very well can come back down into the below 4. And again, that could be another good opportunity. I would not be scared to buy into these levels over here just because of my experience and trading Tesla so much. But be very careful because it is very volatile. And when it moves, and it's always in the news. You don't know if it's going to be good or bad. Now, here's the thing that is worrisome. We went up, we came down, we broke out of this descending wedge that I've been talking about. We could get a spike up. The spike is not done. So watch these levels. Look at the order block. There is a lot of liquidity. We broke the structure. This happens, expect a market to pull back aggressively. Iron, we could go up to about 100 to 112. That's a measured move from this. We are in an uptrend. We did make a new high. Maybe we get a pullback here and then continue. Again, very volatile. I do think that it has a good chance of closing below 50 this week based off of the option chain, but I could be wrong. And this is the secret weapon that I wanted to talk about. Typically, in a bull market, when things are heating up, getting closer to a top, you see, okay, the ISM Purchasing Managers Index go to 57 and above. Okay? Because of the amount of money flowing into AI and everything in this is what's showing me that the market is not done, that we could continue to go higher. So this is what I'm thinking of in the back of my mind. But I'm also at the forefront looking at hedging everything, because once we get up here, okay, to this yellow 57 and above, and maybe we even go this high, This would make sense. Because we're in an 18-year cycle, we could get into highs on this that go all the way back to the 70s and 80s. If that happens, I could promise you the market is topped. And then be very cautious of a massive pullback. I don't know how big it is. Some people think it'll be as big as the dot-com bubble. I don't know if it will be that big because of how much liquidity these companies have and the cash flow and everything else. But then again, anything is possible, right? So one of the things is to watch this chart. Watch it, keep it up. Money's flowing in, liquidity's coming in, and here is my secret. If we go back, and what I'm correlating here is I want you to see the blue. I'm going to lower this down so you can see it. The blue is the market, S&P. The top and the candles is Bitcoin. Do you notice anything different here? You can see when the market makes a low, crypto makes a low. The market goes high, Bitcoin goes high, all the way, right? We had our dip here. Back in April, we had our dip. We had our run up. We had our dip in the market. We had a bigger dip in crypto. We have a run in the market. We have not had a run in crypto. And this is what I have been watching and just diving into the numbers. So because of the government shutdown, that potentially, because I can't confirm 100%, that liquidity basically stalled crypto for maybe 3-4 months. Okay. And this is now something I've really, really looked at and gave it. What I'm seeing right now, guys, no one's talking about. I've been saying that after this flush that we're seeing with the technicals. Okay. This right here, for the record, is very bullish. We're going down. Thank you for being patient with my hands. I have a shaky hand. That right there is showing me if the market continues to go up, this whole fade that we had just delayed crypto. Can we come down and see it? Potentially go to 50, like the bottom of this line that you're seeing my finger on the mouse is at 52,000. If we touch here, I'm just telling you, the moment we get out of this wedge, we're going for a new shot. I don't know how high. I'm not in the market of having a crystal ball, but I think we potentially go to 150. And the reason I say that is if I go to the fib levels, so these fib lines have been in for quite some time, you could see we hit every key one, right? So I would say the next two areas that we should hit after we break out of this at crypto is going to be about 139 to 179. It could overshoot. It could keep laddering up. I don't know. But that's what I would be watching for. And if you basically zoom out, this area right here that I've been saying could be the bottom, tell me we're not getting closer to the bottom after understanding this. So keep an eye out, guys. I hope, and I know you're probably wondering, I could make these overlap. Let me see. It's just a little tricky with how this. So if I go like this to the tops, you can see it's not gonna. It just gives you an idea, right? Look how high Bitcoin outperformed the market, and right now the market's outperforming Bitcoin. But my point is, we haven't seen crypto go up with the market. This is the first time that this has happened. And I don't think that there's a decoupling or whatever you're hearing out there. What I think is because of the government shutdown, it's delayed. Something happened that delayed this. And I can't put my finger on it. I don't think I'll ever know personally. But this is turning out to be bullish. And the fact that the market has been ripping and the IPOs and the other thing too is the liquidity has been going to SpaceX and other AI plays. But if you believe in AI, there's no way you don't believe in crypto because crypto is going to be the blockchain and a lot of all the securities and everything else out there is going to be on the blockchain, whether you like it or not. That's just the way it is. But this right here is to me setting up if we like I don't know where the low is. This could be the low. It could be down here. Who knows? Who cares? But these are going to be levels when you get confirmation. And the other thing that I always said is if you look at where we went here, right? Typically, we have a 20% on Bitcoin. I want to show you something before I end this. Okay. When we came all the way down, and you look at the high from 2017, that's a 22% area here. Typically, this is the ceiling where we broke structure. Okay, call this the ceiling. This becomes the floor. We never even really hit it because of all this area here. So I'm going off of the highs. So remember, the high in the last cycle in 2022 was 70 or 68,000. Okay. Now, when you pull this, let's just say it goes down 22% like before, and we don't know, is it going to be more or less? That puts us at 52,600. The bottom will be in at that point, and I think we get a massive run year end. Everybody says that the bottom's going to be in October because they're looking at the crypto winter or whatever, the 4-year cycle. And maybe they're right. Maybe they're right. If we flush down quicker, I think that the bottom is in. And every cycle, in my opinion, is different. I don't believe it's that systematic where same time, same this, same everything, because the market was already making new highs with crypto before the stock market did in the last this cycle. So I don't think everything's going to be identical, but I do think we are approaching the low of the market. And this right here on this downtrend that we're seeing, once we break out, you will have confirmation that we are going to the upside. So if you found videos like this helpful, guys, and you like my TNA, please subscribe to the channel, support it. I know I haven't been making much videos, but there's something big I'm working on behind the scenes pertaining to a fund. And I will keep everybody posted on that if I get the green light from the securities lawyers. But I wanted to touch base, tell you why I've been quiet, what I'm watching, levels I'm watching. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. And if I can answer them, I will. I will never give you an answer if I don't truly have one. I will tell you I do not know. But like I always say, trade with discipline, trade with intention, and God bless you all. Make it a great day.